I have often been asked whether Pakistan can progress without feudalism. I want to rephrase this question. Can Pakistan progress without agriculture? The short answer is no. With feudalism, progress will be retarded. What is feudalism? Feudalism is not just one person or family owning huge tracts of land, going into tens of thousands of acres often. It is about, above all, the mindset that he owns the land and everything under it and above it and all the people working on it. It is about the relations of production, the modes of production, and the modes of the distribution of benefit or income from that land. If the tiller of the land, the farmer who tills the soil, does not get a fair share and remains in poverty as do his progeny generation after generation, then there's something very wrong with that relationship between the tiller and the land and of course the landlord. A terrible thing also about feudalism is that it creates a mindset, as I said. The feudal mindset then infects even the urban mindset, especially with industrialists who make as much money, if not more, than the feudal. Modern methods of farming are ignored because the feudal gets enough money. Sometimes he has 80,000 acres and he cultivates only 40,000 of them. And 40,000 leaves alone, oh, I don't need it, I get the income I need every year. That is a major loss. The backbone of Pakistan's economy is agriculture and will continue to be agriculture. And we, in our economy, our governments need to give more importance to it than to anything else. Because successful feudalism or successful agriculture leads to successful industrialization of agricultural-based commodities like textiles from cotton. That is what needs to be done and to be modernized. What I've been saying for a long time is that we have to make viable units of farms, not of the one size necessarily. A 500-acre farm in Punjab would be worth in yield a 5,000-acre farm in Sindh, because the yield is low in Sindh. We have to go by what are product index units or produce index units. And that has to be worked out by specialists. We have to mechanize as far as possible, but without damaging the livelihoods of the tiller. And this is not just land agriculture. There is animal husbandry. There are methods of farming like drip water and all kinds of things. As far as possible, we need to use natural fertilizer, because artificial fertilizer has a feedstock called natural gas. It wastes natural gas and is artificial. So once we do that, we make these farms, then everyone has shares in these farms, like you have in a public limited company which is tradable on a stock exchange. So the original owner of the land owns a significant amount of shares, say 20%. 40 or 30% you put on the stock market, the agricultural stock exchange, and the rest you divide amongst the tillers. And a person who owns, say, 5% shares cannot go and take you and say, this is my piece of land. No. These are the shares I have in this whole farm. When he dies, His shares are then divided within his progeny. It's the shares that get fragmented, not the land itself, which is very bad for agriculture. And you can set up separate boards of stock exchange for it. Remember, the concept of stock exchange came from agriculture, from the Chicago grain market, wheat market. Then it moved on to business and industry and urban businesses. We start there. You have to make its own prudential regulations and security and exchange type regulations. Like a brother with a large number of shares wants to get rid of them, he gives the right of first refusal to other brothers or other tillers of the farmer, but not to the landlord, because then he will gradually keep buying the shares and increasing them. That is the best way to do it. China did it by making communes, and the government owned the land. Our government also owns every square of land in Punjab and whatever you have, not in Punjab, in Pakistan, and whatever you have is on lease. So we have to do this and modernize agriculture. We have to empower the farmer economically so that his upward mobility remains, his quality of life constantly and continuously improves. He can educate his children. He can make them healthy by giving them nutritious food. I mean, what a great tragedy this is. That those who grow food cannot feed themselves and their children properly. Then you have to get rid of the middleman and do something about him, the Aarti as we call him, because he is a very big menace to agriculture and to the pricing of goods when they finally sold in the retail market. We have to grade our food. We have to, like in fruit, you have oranges, so you have to grade them by size so that you can then package it, sell it in our market first, and then export it abroad. There's a lot of money in that. Same thing with rice, same thing with wheat, same thing with barley, same thing with oats, potatoes, everything, onions. Then there's animal husbandry. Pakistan used to be one of the top 6 exporters of dairy products in the world. Now it's nowhere. We have the largest cattle farm in the world in Malir in Karachi. Now what? Primitive ways and methods are being used. Mr. Mumtaz Manes, who's a great agriculturist of South Punjab, his farms in Vihari and these places, told me, and he's done it in his farm, that if you gave just clean drinking water to your cattle, their milk production would go up by 2, he used to say seer, but say 2 kilos a day. A day. Now at any given time, you have about 30 million animals, buffalo and cows, giving milk in Pakistan. In a day, that means you will have 16 million kilos of additional milk. A day, multiplied by 365, and it goes off the chart. You take that milk, you add value to it by making yogurts, sweetened and plain. You make butter, you make ghee, you make cheese. And it will increase exponentially your exports from agriculture. Similarly, now they're using artificial insemination with sperm mostly imported from Australia. I saw it there in Mumtaz Manes' farm. So, the male bull or buffalo, cow or buffalo, is ignored. He's just used to go to his mother's udders, start the milk going, and then they put him away put those things on it to suck them out, the machine, mechanically. And they take that kid, cow or buffalo, put his mouth in the earth, he starts eating that. And he dies in about 5, 6, 7, 2 months. He's dead. If we started beef farms who could buy the male and grow it for 8 months or so, he would be right to export as an animal, to export as a carcass, and then again you add value by giving specialist cuts like for steak, like for ribs, and all kinds of things. Veal, escalopes, and you export that. And he told me, Mumtaz Manes, and this I'm talking about 10 years ago, that at that time the market, world market for halal or Muslim kosher type of meat was $280 billion. And about that much more for processed or specially cut beef. And he also told me, to my great sadness, that the top 5 exporters of halal beef that Muslims eat all over the world are non-Muslim countries, like Chile, China now, and some others. There was not one Muslim country, and the one that ought to be there. Now, who is the biggest exporter of beef, halal or non-halal? It's India. A, because the majority of the population doesn't eat the cow, they worship it. They revere it. But they still do slaughter it, and they export the beef. India is the largest exporter of beef in the world. There is no reason. In fact, it is a duty, it is an imperative and incumbent upon us to become the largest exporter of halal beef. China is doing halal beef. Chile is doing halal for you. Australia is doing halal for you. Because the Middle Eastern countries don't have this. The Arab countries don't have this. So they're importing it. Why can't we do it? Pakistan's economy would literally double if we did all this. You get rid of the fruit flies. They come on your fruit trees, especially the mango. There's a very simple method. There's a cylinder you hang from a branch with its hole in it, and you put the liquid of the female fruit fly in it. The male comes in, goes through the hole, gets trapped, he's killed. And you get rid of this menace of the fruit fly. Your mangoes cannot be exported to the United States, North America, because they're not fruit fly proof kind of thing. I mean, your prime ministers and presidents sent crates of mangoes, beautifully packed, to the president of the United States. They never even leave Dulles Airport. He doesn't get to eat them. He doesn't get to distribute them. Why? Because there's fruit fly danger. And they're destroyed at the airport. And this is the way we waste money. And it costs nothing to get rid of the fruit fly. So this is what the feudal mindset does. It doesn't modernize. As long as I'm making enough money, it's fine for me. If my hari or serf dies, fine. I mean, his son is there, his children are there are others there. There's no dearth. Pakistan has a conveyor belt of poverty-stricken people who will come and do anything for you to keep body and soul together. Some have slaves in Sindh and South Punjab. Some big landlords actually have slaves of the Hindu Bhil tribe. 70,000, 7,000 slaves, 10,000 slaves. And what they do with slaves, you know, exactly what they used to do in America. So, when I say or you ask that feudalism is the problem, you have to understand it holistically and in its totality. It's the mindset and the modes of production, ownership and distribution of income, and then the distribution over the land.